Getting a letter from the IRS that you owe back taxes can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. Call Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040 today. We'll help stop garnishments, levies, and seizures immediately. With over 35 years of dealing directly with the IRS, our team of local professionals will help you pay the least amount possible. So if you owe back taxes to the IRS, you need help. Call the tax professionals at Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040. Your go-to tax relief.
Looking to get some keys made, locks rekeyed, or a wide variety of new and used safe? Then look no further than the trusted choice of Alfred Safe and Lock, conveniently located off of Government Street in Mid-City, Baton Rouge. Trust the expert locksmith at Alfred for all of your residential, commercial, and industrial lock and safe needs. Trusted by Baton Rouge and me, Roger Cador, to protect what is yours since 1946.
Some Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge. Some don't. The ones that do know BTR is all about being closer, more convenient, with non-stops and short hops to anywhere their business takes them. They also know not flying BTR means more traffic, longer lines, and wasted time. So if it's about going from driveway to runway with a lot less highway, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport. It's about time.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Roger Cador Show. Clarence Buggs along with the coach at Scoreboards, 10655 Coursey Boulevard, Baton Rouge's newest sports grill. Coach, Saints laid another playoff egg on Sunday, and once again at the hands of the Vikings. This script has gotten real old real fast.
Yeah, you know, they just, when that first half, when they were tied, I think when Saints were down it, going into the second half, I felt they were in trouble because Saints wasn't clicking for some reason. One of the problems that did, give the Vikings defense credit, they took away the short pass, which is all Drew could throw because he surely couldn't stretch the defense out.
And the pressure on Drew was relentless throughout the game.
Yeah, they kept the pressure on him. And that's why, because of that, they were able to defend the short pass a lot better because he had to try and get rid of it quick.
Yeah. To me, looking at it from an outsider's perspective, looking in, we got outplayed and outcoached.
Well, he could be. I thought the coach for the Vikings had a really good game plan. And I want to give Kirk Cousins some credit.
Yeah.
He stood in there like a man, and he was able to go downfield with his passes. And he really did a good job. Plus the running back, Cook, was a man.
Yeah.
He played like a man.
It seems to me, and again, this is an outsider's perspective looking in, but it seems like this team has entirely too much talent not to know how to respond to getting punched in the mouth.
Well, you know, the Rams had a lot of talent too, and they didn't even make the playoffs. So,
true.
You know, this still is the NFL. What people need to know, Clarence, is that in the NFL, on a given day, anybody can knock you off. I mean, that is what you're facing. It depends who execute that game plan. When a team execute the game plan, they're usually going to be successful.
You said throughout the course of this season on more than one occasion, would a running back the likes of a Mark Ingram have made a difference for the Saints?
Well, he didn't have that tough running up the middle. I felt all along that he was a key loss. And I think when Sean Payton realized it too, he wanted him back.
Right.
Because you need that toughness of going up the middle. So now you got Kamara, you can run him out, size some. So it's a lot of things, Clarence. I just think at the end of the day, Minnesota was more prepared and they came out victorious.
When we come back, we'll review the highlights and talk a little more black and gold when this week's edition of the Roger Cador Show continues. Stay with us.
Break out of the chaos.
Hi folks, Clarence Buggs here. Coach Roger Cador would take the time to tell you how to catch our brand new show, The Roger Cador Show, but as you can see, he's kind of busy right now out at Scoreboards, Baton Rouge's newest sports grill with food that is absolutely amazing. Catch the show 8 o'clock Tuesday nights, 6:30 p.m. on Wednesdays, and on Pelican Television's YouTube channel as well. You want to come out and have a great time. It's awesome, isn't it, Coach? Mm-hmm. Told you.
Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg. We just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
Welcome back for segment 2 of this week's edition of the Roger Cador Show. Coach, we all know how tough it is to go deep in the playoffs every year, but this one really hurt. What do you tell your team after a loss like this one?
Really, it's tough. You just tell them, guys, we didn't do our very best, which they didn't.
Right.
I think you have to be honest with them and tell them, listen, the result of this is that we have to prepare for next year. That's really what you have to tell them. And let's make sure we take a couple of weeks off and start working, getting ready for next year. Because next year, everybody's favorite.
Not looking for any scapegoats here, but once again, the officiating left a lot to be desired, Coach.
Well, the whole year, Clarence, the whole year. I'm so surprised of the officiating that with all of the replays and all of the other things available, it's just a sad situation that we've seen so many things happen. I just think that the NFL is going to have to go in the offseason and look at some things, try to work them out.
So what do you tell your fans who've invested all this time, energy, effort, emotion when you lay an egg in a big game like this?
We're going to be better next year. It's not a lot you can tell fans anyway. They're not realistic to start with. So, I mean, don't waste a lot of time. Just let them know we're preparing to try and win it next year. I think that's all you can tell them from a realistic standpoint.
If you are a member of this team, 3rd year in a row, you've seen the same result against the same team. How long do you lament this loss, and what do you take away from this loss?
That you have to probably look at being able to say whether or not we're going down the road with Drew. I love Drew Brees, but if you can't stretch that field in the playoff time, it's tough to win.
Yeah.
Because defenses are so sophisticated, and with all of the technology that is present,
right,
it's going to make it tough for him. So you got to be able to say, we got to stretch the field.
I heard one of the announcers during the course of the broadcast say something that really stuck with me. Taysom Hill made an outstanding play, and one of the announcers just kind of wondered out loud, saying, why isn't this guy on the field more than he is? I mean, obviously, you would think a Sean Payton and staff would know their personnel grouping better than anybody. But on a day like that, when things aren't clicking, it seems like you got to have a guy that you can go to, or whoever happens to be the hot hand that day, to give yourself a realistic shot at winning.
I'll agree, but I can tell you this from a coaching standpoint. It's hard to change things in the middle of the game that you already have playing. Keep in mind, all year, certain things work for them.
Right.
And that's what they were trying to, from a coaching standpoint, it's tough to go away from that. And so and with the Hill, he's been affected with what they're doing, and he was affected.
Right.
So it's not like they could have designed more plays for him. You still had to make sure Kamara get his touches. The wide receiver, Thomas, get his. And the other guys, I just think from an offensive standpoint, you're limited how much more you can change the game plan.
But some people might want to argue that that's the difference between the good coaches and the great coaches. You realize on any particular Sunday what's going on, and you make the necessary in-game adjustments. Is that an oversimplification, Coach?
I think you nailed it. I mean, sometimes you may have to change, and the great coaches aren't afraid to change. And but players are the ones that make the coaches look smart.
Yeah.
Just remember, the fans, no matter how much you sit around and sip on that good orange juice, it's just, it is what it is. And, Saints will have to play, I'm telling you, a little better defense too. That's really, I see if there is, that defensive backs leave a lot to be desired.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Williams came in and played relatively well.
Right.
But I just think they're going to have to upgrade that defensive back. Probably linebackers, too.
When we come back, we'll switch from black and gold to purple and gold when the Roger Cador Show continues. Stay close.
Looking to get some keys made, locks rekeyed, or a wide variety of new and used safe? Then look no further than the trusted choice of Alfred Safe and Lock. Conveniently located off of Government Street in Mid-City, Baton Rouge. Trust the expert locksmith at Alfred for all of your residential, commercial, and industrial lock and safe needs. Trusted by Baton Rouge and me, Roger Cador, to protect what is yours since 1946.
Break out of the chaos.
Getting a letter from the IRS that you owe back taxes can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. Call Go Tax Resolution in Mandeville at 985-722-1040 today. We'll help stop garnishments, levies, and seizures immediately. With over 35 years of dealing directly with the IRS, our team of local professionals will help you pay the least amount possible. So if you owe back taxes to the IRS, you need help. Call the tax professionals at Go Tax Resolution in Mandeville at 985-722-1040. Your go-to tax relief.
Welcome back for segment 3 of this week's edition of the Roger Cador Show. Coach, let's talk a little LSU football. Joe Burrow squaring off against Trevor Lawrence. Between the two of these quarterbacks, more than 8,000 yards passing, more than 80 touchdowns this season. This has the makings of potentially a good old-fashioned Wild West shootout.
Well, I would say it has the really good making of that. I like that matchup. I think LSU match up a lot better against Clemson than Ohio State. Clemson defensive line is not as strong.
Right.
Remember, they lost 3 guys to the NFL off of that defensive line from last year.
Right.
So I think with their offensive line, they can buy some time for Burrows and get all those wide receivers some time to run patterns and have some fun.
And run patterns they do. We'll roll highlights as Coach and I continue our conversation. The Tigers are going to benefit greatly from the return of some key players. Senior linebacker Michael Divinity is expected back. Running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire is expected to be at full strength. And safety Grant Delpit's sprained ankle is reportedly feeling a whole lot healthier. All of that is great news for LSU, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. You always want to, that 2 weeks really in an athletic injury situation, 2 weeks is a lifetime to get a kid ready, long as something not broken.
Right.
And with Jack Marucci, he's the best at getting players ready.
Oh, yeah.
So give them credit. I think they'll be all ready to go. and we're going to have some fun. We want to see Bebe Orgeron. We want to see him dancing on the sideline.
Can you think of any college quarterback you would rather have in a game like this than Joe Burrow?
Well, the way he's playing this year, no, he is the guy. This is, you pick him based upon this year.
Right.
He's the guy this year.
Oh, yeah.
He does a good job buying time in that pocket, moving out of it. I mean, he's just doing such a good job. It's so hard for them to keep up with those receivers.
As cerebral as this guy is, it's easy, really easy to see that he's a coach's son, isn't it?
He does all the things that a coach's son usually do.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's got good discipline, and it appears that the players really respect and like him. So I know the coaches do. Coach O loves him.
Oh, yeah. How much do you think that extra year of age and maturity helps Joe Burrow?
In athletic careers, it means a lifetime in some instances.
Right.
1 year of maturity, not only mentally but physically.
Mm-hmm.
You get to see some things that works and don't work
right.
in that 1 year.
Yep.
You're seeing failures and successes. So I think that's why that 1 year, if you can give a kid another year, usually they're going to be a lot better.
We've always known that LSU fans are a different breed. Some say spoiled, some say fickle. How would you like to be the young man that has to follow Joe Burrow?
Well, somebody got to follow him.
Somebody's got to.
Let's be realistic. Someone has to follow him. And, it's obviously whoever follows him probably won't have the success.
Right.
And people ought to respect that.
Let's hope so.
You're looking at a once-in-a-lifetime situation with Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime. So even at Alabama, when they've won all those national championships, it's just hard to find people like that to step in.
How big a boost is it for the Tigers to play so close to home, the Mercedes-Benz Superdome?
Well, it's really good because they've been there before, and it just gives some people a few more extra drink they could have in the system to get inside that door and yell. Oh!
High octane Tiger fans, right?
High octane.
When we come back, we will wrap up this week's edition of the Roger Cador Show. Stay close.
Oh, it's so wonderful. Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg. We just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
Some Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge. Some don't. The ones that do know BTR is all about being closer, more convenient, with non-stops and short hops to anywhere their business takes them. They also know not flying BTR means more traffic, longer lines, and wasted time. So if it's about going from driveway to runway with a lot less highway, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport. It's about time.
Hi folks, Clarence Buggs here. Coach Roger Cador would take the time to tell you how to catch our brand new show, The Roger Cador Show, but as you can see, he's kind of busy right now out at Scoreboards, Baton Rouge's newest sports grill with food that is absolutely amazing. Catch the show 8 o'clock Tuesday nights, 6:30 p.m. on Wednesdays, and on Pelican Television's YouTube channel as well. You want to come out and have a great time. It's awesome, isn't it, Coach? Mm-hmm. Told you. Welcome back for the final segment of this week's edition of the Roger Cador Show. Again, we come to you from Scoreboards at 10655 Coursey Boulevard, Baton Rouge's newest sports grill. Coach, as we get ready to head on out of the door here, knowing full well that among some segments of Tiger fans, he was not the first choice for this job. How bad do you think Coach O wants this one, or does he, like the proverbial duck, just let that kind of stuff just roll off his back?
Well, I really can't say. But as any coach to be in this situation, you certainly want to win it because that's a trademark for your career, a national championship, just like a Super Bowl in the NFL. So he wants to win it. He's gotten this close. He can literally smell it.
Yeah.
And he wants his players to have all of this, to hang their hats on.
You were one of the people that were one of the first on board behind Bebe. I mean, he's one of us. He's as Louisiana as Gumbo and Etouffee on any given day. How good does it make most Louisianians feel to see a guy ascend to this height and to enjoy the success that he has so far?
Well, when you're one of us and you're enjoying this type of success, not only the local, but on the national level, it makes everybody feel, because let's face it, people put Louisiana down. We talk different. We eat different. We taste different. We look different. We all look different all over. And he's finding, now people are finding out he's all right. He's unique. He's like everybody else.
Well, just for the record, when you said we look different, Marty said, speak for yourself. So, just saying.
Alan
just saying.
probably said it.
How hard with a win can we expect other schools to come after Coach O's assistant staff?
Well, you know, they're making a pretty good salary, and they would be foolish to leave right now, because unless they're going to get, people don't usually make lateral moves.
Right.
Because it's not beneficial.
Yeah.
You got me? Now, if somebody want to get a coordinator to become a head job, but it doesn't make sense you leave one coordinator job to go to other. LSU is a top 5 program.
Oh, yeah.
So unless you're going to a number 1 program, you probably stay pat, and they'll give them more money to keep them happy.
Winning it all, the national championship, how far would this go in throwing up a wall around Louisiana that other schools will have a really hard time recruiting in our state?
Well, I don't think you're going to always be able to keep 100% kids in because of needs.
Right.
You know, you may not need a kid who is a linebacker if you got 10 on the roster.
Yeah.
You may need a offensive lineman, a defensive lineman. So I think there'll be some top flight kids who may leave, but it probably be based upon needs.
Right. One of the things that has really stood out to me and endeared this coaching staff is the fact that they've made it great, once again, to play for Louisiana's flagship university. We ought to all be pretty proud of that, Coach.
Oh, yeah, very proud. You know, the one thing I want to go back, we don't want a Marshall Faulk to leave this state and go to San Diego State, because we wouldn't put him at running back. You know, he wanted to be a running back. They wanted him as a DB. So you've got to, with those great players, you've got to evaluate them correctly. And so you can keep them in the state.
Has Joe Brady forever changed how offense is played at Louisiana State University?
Well, it may, keep in mind he's unique in what he's done. So the next guy may not be able to execute that way. Probably not, Clarence. So it's going to be tough for someone to say copycat it. You know, this is going to be awful difficult to put someone and say, go do what Joe Brady did. Wouldn't be fair.
Good point. Good point. You get around a lot. You talk with a lot of people, being the people person that you are. What's the perception you get? Have the fans truly taken the time to enjoy this ride along the way, Coach?
Oh, yeah. You know, in the beginning, there were people who were negative. Oh, wait till they play Alabama. Wait till they play Florida. You know, he went through all of those things.
Wait till they play Auburn. Wait till they play Georgia.
You know.
Wait till they play Oklahoma.
But they didn't say that about toward the end of the year. They were saying it more to the beginning. Because then they realized this team was real. So they became very proud of what was taking place with the team and with the coaching staff.
If I could put you in Coach O's situation right now, understanding that brass ring is right there for the grabbing, but obviously you want to look a little further down the road, not taking for granted that you're going to grab the brass ring. But what do you look at in the future?
Well, you really can't look that far when you got one game you're trying to win.
Is that one goal?
One goal. Well, every day you got to make sure your players. Remember, you're still dealing with 18 to 22-year-old
Correct.
young people, so you've got to keep that the goal simple, so they don't get ahead of themselves.
Right.
You know, as imperfect people, we have a tendency to make more of what we are than what we are.
Right, right. When the season started, and I think you and I may have talked about this on an occasion or two, typically you can set your watch prior to the Orgeron administration. You could set your watch when young men on that team started getting in trouble. You knew it's pretty close to football season. We hadn't seen any of this, and it seems as though Coach Orgeron has made a connection with these young people that has them proud to represent the school, proud to represent their families, and proud to represent this state.
Well, I think it's more than Coach O. I think position coaches have also done a good job because they're in control of their players who play the position they coach.
Right.
And then after you leave there, I think the leadership have taken over and kept a lot of things in place with what our goals are. And then finally, but not last, is that great building they built where now the kids have somewhere to go.
Right.
Away from the mass of the people at the university. They don't have to hear a lot of stuff. They're sitting in that beautiful place.
So do you think maybe now all the folks that were complaining, I don't know why we had to spend that kind of money on that facility, you think maybe they're having second thoughts about this?
They
now?
won't even mention it.
But are they thinking about it?
Maybe they are, but they ain't going to mention it.
Well, we wish our Tigers nothing but the absolute best. And of course, we'll all be tuning in, rooting for LSU to bring home that national championship. It's something that's been a long time coming. Not as long as it could be, and not as long as it will be for a lot of other schools. But hey, sometimes it is what it is. On behalf of the coach and the entire crew, I'm Clarence Buggs. We'll see you next week with another edition of the Roger Cador Show. Go Tigers.